What's going on, workforce? Brian and Chris here, and today we're diving back into a tier list, but a tier list of a different type. In case, as we do a community feedback tier list style, your comments off of our tier list video for the jobs themselves. We're gonna tier list it, and that's it's a little bit meta. It's a little bit, we
were accused of farming views on the last one. This one might be.
I think we'll actually have that comment in here. In that regard,
delightful.
I believe I've gathered what I thought would be a wide range of awesome comments for us to discuss. So let's go ahead and dive in. Let's have some fun here. Chris, the board is yours. You can see some of the names.
Let's just start at the top. Let's start at the top. There's a lot that happened. A tier list the week before an expansion is like the least accurate of all tier lists, and a tier list from Brian and Chris is the least informed of all people that actually know of all classes. Anybody less informed than us is new to the game and should be left alone. We are the lowest level of informed that can be made fun of. And so when some people took ours as more canonical, and that's a bold choice.
So Auditor says this is a hate crime on Dragoon.
Audio red, I believe.
Okay.
Maybe.
I guess.
I liked yours better. This is a hate crime on Dragoon.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't actually know. I believe of all the classes in 14, Dragoon is the only one that cannot. They're just in a universally accepted group of players to hate, right? So you can't actually. You're not doing anything wrong. Dragoons that's what they do. They're floor tanks, self-proclaimed. So I mean let's put that in as like our nice middle of the road. We don't know where we're going to go here. I have no idea what comments you pulled. So let's just settle that in B.
We'll start that
because
in B.
This could get better. This could get worse. I tweeted out that our list, some of the early comments ranged from like disappointing garbage to this was good fun, and I was like, that's actually exactly how I feel about all
exactly where we're
lists.
going with it.
They are either fun or infuriating. There is no level of information that can come out of a tier list.
It's like one of the comments I replied to was literally like, I guess you haven't seen Chris's tier list before. He thinks they're all just bogus.
I think the whole format is F tier.
Yeah. So let's do 2 in a row, baby. We're doing it for you because we love you. Hopefully you guys subscribe and like. This is hopefully entertainment at the end of the day at its core. I love how people get so frustrated. I think that's a good B tier slot. Let's just, we'll keep working our way down.
Jay Ditto's here in the chat.
Says, need that t-shirt. At least I'm not a bard. So honestly, I'd have to say you need to reach out to our t-shirt gal and see if she can't get together a dead dragoon muttering the words, at least I'm not a bard. I think that would be choice. So we could see if we could get that shirt. I'm gonna give Jay an A for A, being in chat, but then also at the same time totally helping kind of drive maybe a potential shirt that we could have for people to wear, like it maybe at a,
because if we're not farming views, we're shilling merch, and that's better than hate crime on Dragoon. Can we move it up to S for shills?
Okay, done. Oh man, I just knew I was gonna get a kick out of this. That's just too funny. And don't forget, guys, if you're live with us here on Twitch, you can also use your vote up and vote down. Feel free to let me know what comment who should be moving around. All right, board's yours, Chris.
It's good. Hippo Potatoes next, and they are in the lead for best YouTube name. Bard needs to be A, B, C, D, E, and F for the notes it plays. That's nice.
Yeah, I like it. A little bit of one of the cool things about Bard.
You'll notice they still didn't make S or Sid Deer.
Right, I know. So that would be anywhere within this range, which is essentially where Bard lived with us anyhow.
I mean, I'd put it at C. Isn't that where Bard finished?
I think so. There we go. But I would say I'm gonna
put a good comment.
I'm gonna put them on. I'm gonna move them up to B, just based off their name alone.
Okay.
We'll stick them there for now. We'll see we'll see if anybody in chat wants to move any of these. All right.
This next one's long.
This one's a long one, and I think just from a text perspective, I'm gonna move over to my notepad, just because it was
this is where you can see desktop versus mobile most of the time.
Yeah. All right.
Because
So
when I respond to things on desktop, I type a lot longer than on mobile. I'm like, good video. Thank you for posting.
Yeah.
And on desktop, I'm like,
All
allow me
right.
to type my dissertation that you didn't ask for.
So Matt says, I'm glad I wasn't there when you guys did this because my way would be Summoner, Red Mage, Dancer, Dark Knight, Ninja, top spot on the list, S, Gunbreaker, Monk, Sam, Machinist, A, Paladin, Warrior, Scholar, White Mage, Dragoon, F, Black Mage, and Bard. So like he literally is
No
like
B, no C, no D, no E.
no, just straight F, like F those Black Mages and Bards. Not
Delete
sure
them.
where I put the new jobs. If you ask why F for Black Mage and Bards, don't you know Yoshi P main Black Mage? Yes, I know he mains Black Mage. And even he would beg me, to delete Black Mage job crystal. I suck at Black Mage. That's why I only have it as, on my main, and I personally wish I didn't pick it up at all. I really need the level 80 job skip so I can finally say I level Black Mage to 80 without hurting anyone. I was fine getting it to level 50 on Black Mage, but after that, I as well, let's say buying job skip is the better choice. I thought this was just wonderful, and so I'm honestly would give this as a Sid tier comment for just their level of like understanding of their own skills.
Just delete the job.
And Yoshi
please,
P
God.
would thank me for doing so. Like, so I would rate this as a Sid tier comment. Would you agree?
Okay, let's do it.
All right. The fun fact for Matt, just kind of heads up, is that the changes to Black Mage make it much more approachable with the Enochian change. So you give it a shot in Endwalker. I think you'll be pleased with it. Board is yours, Chris. Board is yours.
All right. The underbreak. Bards are bad, is what people without ACT say. And yes, I'm running a DPS meter. And the Black Mage is bad. I believe my response to this in the comments section was, but Svea plays Black Mage. And obviously we're all going to have the same results as him.
Yeah. I think that's really a critical point, is that like when you look at the numbers, like yes, Black Mage can top, and when it comes to the people who spend the time mastering it, yes, they can eke out so much more damage. But when you then there's a massive skill gap in that job. So yeah, like chances are if you're like, oh, I see Black Mage could do the best DPS, that therefore means I will do the best DPS, and that's not a 1-to-1 guaranteed translation.
So the Bard comment's been promoted by chat, and I would say, so this one self-admits like a straight up TOS breach.
Yeah.
That we would never support. We've never made a video talking about the value that DPS meters bring, or how important tools like FF logs might be. That would be awful of us. Every single content creator in the community is anti DPS meter. None of them would ever show it on stream. Definitely not during the World First race. So, I wouldn't want to encourage that behavior. The ACT thing, I think, has to downvote it, even though I like the comment, because we're not supposed to do that.
So where does it fall? Because we got one upvote. So where would you put it? And then I'll level it up one.
I'd put it on a C.
Put it on a C. So then with the level up comes a B.
But the gap between a good and a bad player on a job, seriously, that's why when World First Raiders are asked by people in their chats what job people should play, like, hey, I'm new to the game and you're really good at this game, what should I play? Their answer is always play what you enjoy, because you will always be better at what you enjoy. Don't look at what a job's theoretical best is. Look at something that you're actually having so much fun that you might want to give a crap about what the tool tabs say, instead of feeling like Matt up there where you're like, I wish I'd never picked up this job stone. Exactly. That's not going to help you.
Right. All right, Vort's mine. We've got it blanked. We're not revealing the name because they deleted their comment. But if you guys aren't aware, we still see them. So Chris busted a gut.
I texted it to him. I mean, within 15 minutes of it going up. That's the timer from the screenshot from my phone. Before it had been deleted. So actually, it had already been deleted. I believe they deleted it within a few minutes of posting.
Says uninformed, disappointing garbage, which to me tells that they jump in. That's their initial take without even seeing the video. And then they either watch the video and then they're like, Ah, they got me. So I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give this an E, just because it just. I'm glad they went back and did it, but the fact that they didn't commit to it, like when Lazy Peon took down his Final Fantasy 14 video,
we had an issue with it.
We had that. I have a problem with that.
But the issue
wasn't that he took it down. I mean, wasn't that he made it. It's that he took it down. So
say whatever you want, but own it. Own it.
But we want to respect their privacy.
I believe later we're going to talk about whether this video was uploaded, and we're going to get to talk about our stance on that. But yes, this was my favorite comment. My favorite comments are the ones that make me laugh. They're not always positive. They're always negative. But this is the one that made me laugh the loudest physically in the real world. But because they deleted it, it has to be down in the E or F tier.
Yeah.
Because they deleted it. Like, own your comment. Own it.
Yeah, and chat's saying, or like you could just edit it as well. So.
You can do like a edit. I watched this, delightful. Like, that's fine.
Yeah, because you tweeted out, like, especially with this, like this comment and
the
other one that said was really good fun, and you're like, perfect. We threaded the exact needle we were going for with an hour-long pre-Endwalker tier list.
We're just having a good time, guys. We're just killing time.
Yeah. We're hopefully making it easier on you guys.
Content? I do have a plan for content. Endwalker was supposed to be out right now. That was my plan. So no, we are in no man's land right now.
Oh yeah.
All right.
All right, your board's yours. You were taking Glenn?
Glenn is a hero. If you guys want a good laugh, go watch Glenn on Hell's YouTube stuff. Post stuff to Twitter from time to time. Just like if you've ever wanted to see all the jobs as performed by like a Latin mother or like ASMR or all sorts of other views of the different jobs, they're amazing. They're amazing. They play all sorts of games. They've had like some amazing. They've even had like they got to interview. It just amazing, wonderful content creator. And y'all really made the thumbnail.
Yeah,
because the thumbnail was at least I'm not a bard came from. We have been told in our comments. We were told this last month that the only reason we even have a YouTube channel is to broadcast our hate on Bard. At which point we decided, I did not know that, but moving forward, we will be sure to fulfill our new mission statement. We were informed of this, but now that we are aware of what our objective is for the last 5 years, at now over 4,000 posts, it has been the slow con of hating Bard.
Yeah. I think this is Sid tier. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Need to rearrange.
We're the #1 Bard hating channel in all of Eorzea.
Numero uno. All right, board is mine. Let's see here. Okay, we got another longer comment here. The downside of having so many different comments. The job tier list is such a small icon that it's easy to manage. As a new player, only a month old, and leveled monk from 1 to 60, I understand how boring it is. I am only able to do it because I love punching classes, and whenever I do fates or dailies that require me to sync to a lower level, it's just not fun with monk. So we get a little bit of monk support from somebody who is playing through the leveling and agreeing with Chris. So does agreeing with Chris end up bumping this up higher on a tier list, or where do you feel this?
I'm not biased. I think it is just objectively a perfect comment. It's well-rounded in every way. This has nothing to do with the fact that it agrees with me. I would put this solidly S tier. Because confirmation bias is not real.
There we go. Perfect. You got those right there, rocking and rolling. All right, board is yours. You got a couple now to kind of choose from.
We'll just keep working our way down. I'm main white mage. This is about healers. The healers was actually of like legitimate contention in the comments. Our rating of healers was the most frustrated.
Now I'm gonna go ahead and read this one because I have it in bigger font, for you, so that way you don't have to struggle with this one. I main white mage, but there is no way Sage is the lowest rank of the 4 healers. And as a white mage main, I don't think white mage deserves to be top tier either. Thin Air is becoming only 1 MP free cast, and the new skill Lilybell is on a 3-minute cooldown only. And as a white mage main, I don't think white mage mains deserve to be top tier. And it only lasts for 15 seconds. And for it to be a group heal, the white mage actually has to be hit, meaning that the only fully useful if the boss is in rage where it casts multiple AoEs, such as E12S. The changes to White Mage aren't getting enough to keep up the top spot, honestly, and this is coming from someone who has mained it since 1.0. I like a couple corrections. Obviously, like one of the things I always kind of, caution people over is like, what did the media tooltips teach us? They taught us nothing. Like at the end of the day, like there's so many changes that could happen. The other thing with Lilybell is that if you don't get hit, it still fires off, just like with Sage and Higabana, or that's the samurai ability, but like they have that ability where it kind of puts it on, and if you don't end up expending it, it expires and it uses it as a general big cure. So even if the White Mage doesn't get hit, I believe that that's still going to fire off and still cure everybody for what would have healed them if they were taking damage during it. But I think that also helps to add into some of the movement ability, where there's a lot of things going on and around. I think that's going to be something that ends up when you get into the dungeons, and if they keep that same level of momentum and just raid wide AoE going out, I think it's going to end up being a skill that people ultimately enjoy. But that's just my take on the skills.
I think healing is the single hardest role to gauge how it's going to perform prior to getting content. Noting E12S as a fight that this would help in, but then saying the other existing fights aren't, is an example of the fact that like it's very fight dependent.
Yeah.
And so without having seen P1 through 4S, healing is it's something like from the media tour. It's why like our healing discussion on the podcast was, in my opinion, just as accurate to bring on experts who did not go to the media tour as opposed to who did. Mm-hmm. Because at the media tour, we were not given access to any level 90 instance content. Healing a dummy doesn't really tell you anything, and healing a open world hunt boss with people that don't know what's going on doesn't really tell you that much. It's a very reactive job. And so there are people who know a lot more than me about how to read these tooltips. This person may be included in that group. But at the end of the day, I still stand by the fact that like, I don't know that we can accurately rate any healer without knowing how the fights are paced, how things are hitting people, how much raid-wide damage versus avoidable damage, how hard are the tank busters hitting, are there shared busters, are there buster type moves going out on other people, what's the time interval, are there intermissions in bosses? These are all things where the content pacing is determining a healer's toolkit. And it's why some healers, when you sink down, feel so bad in some of the ARR dungeons, because their skills are drip fed at a pace where a dungeon just hits particularly hard and none of the healers are complete sub level 50. And so there are certain healers that like, I don't like playing in sub level 50 dungeons more so than any other job in the game, because you just feel like you barely save a pull and then the tank does it again. And they don't realize that the only way you made it through that was you just burned the only cooldowns you have, and they're not back yet. You just don't have a full kit. So going into Endwalker, if we're talking about this comment seriously, I just don't see how you could rate the healers at all. There was another comment in one of these, like, I don't know what all you pulled, but there was another comment saying like, we didn't even reference PvP.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I think for a huge number of players, what PvP? So like when it comes to like healers, if I had to pick any role to take our tier list the least seriously, I would say healers. I believe I literally gave it points for having a less blinding flashbang.
Yeah.
Like I I don't know. And as a tank main, I'm like, okay, which healer is most likely to get me killed?
Yeah.
And I still feel safe with white mages.
Yeah, like, until we see the patch notes, like I don't think, like, I don't put a lot of hope in the fact that there was Holy and then there was Holy 3. So when it comes down to the healers alone, we're not even just talking potencies. We're talking straight up like anything is possible to change, and has probably already changed.
Maybe we'll move it to Holy 7.
Holy 7. We're just going to, well, and that would break the lore and the reasons behind the Magic Council, who said that I think she'll be going over the number 4.
And White Mage said, I don't care.
That's why we have higher Fire 2 and higher Blizzard 2. It's like, oh my gosh, like you're just giving me a headache. So where does this comment fall? Because obviously they're very passionate on how they feel about the White Mage and how they feel about Sage. Do you feel like they should be rated higher?
It's a legit comment.
Yeah,
but it's a legit comment on a video that I think is a joke. So I personally would leave it right where it is.
All right, at a C tier. All right, there we go.
It's a nice comment. I just like that misses the point. But we did stop and have a legitimate discussion here. This is ultimately a community feedback. The letters don't really mean anything.
I know.
This is
our
what
take
do they
on
say
tier
at the
list.
beginning of Whose Line? Where the points are made up, where the points don't matter and everything's made up.
Yep, there it is. All right, board's mine. We'll go with Slacker Wolf here. WTF is the tier list. White Mage will probably be the trashiest healer next expansion from what was announced. From this week's level 90, 180 second cooldown is just awful. And the Thin Air nerf, while Astro got really decent new tools and spells, it has more OGCD healing tools and still has buffing tools when the White Mage has none of it. No way that it can be a god tier job. What's really cool about that is that they're right when it comes to the OGCDs. They were right when you compare it to the changes Astro has received in terms of where it was. Ultimately, though, we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. For me, I score Astro lower as a controller player, naturally. Like, that's one of the things that I know I'm going to have to pour myself into with Astro and really get, time with it to make sure that I can get it to comfortably work. Otherwise, if that's the case and it's just like, guys, you're playing healer on a controller, like, I would point you easily right now to White Mage, even with the changes. Hands down, White Mage is easy to pick up and play on a controller. Astro is going to require some level of extra level of focus and rethinking. Probably have to use some macros and more when it comes down to it. But when we had the podcast, I'm happy. I'm pleased with the Astro buffs, but like, I'm gonna still have to wait and see. Like, once we get into Pandemonium, that's where I think when it comes down to like people actually like legitimately scoring what jobs perform what, there you go.
I'm hearing very educated people on healers saying Scholar's amazing, and then I'm hearing this like general drone of Scholar's trash, and it's like and the drone could be right, and so we have seen before where people have said a job is trash, and then it's included in world first competing groups and world first winning groups in some cases. So like, ultimately, it's really hard to take anything seriously, even on December 3rd through 7th. Honestly, until January when we're sitting in Savage. And even then, the jobs that perform for the world first people, when strategies are not known, much less optimized, and the level of play can make up for mistakes, as opposed to Party Finder and stuff where you have more casual players where like, hey, we're going to need to do the mechanic right because we're not going to get by on the fact that we can squeak that last 2% out of our jobs. And as gear gets better and things like that, like, we're not really going to know what jobs are settling out as the kind of preferred jobs in what is one of the most balanced MMOs on the market. So it doesn't really matter. We're usually talking about very small percentage differences here. We're not really going to know what jobs come out slightly ahead for this tier until end of January, February, when you see in Party Finder that somebody's like, we can't have this job in here. It's fine. It's fine. Every job will clear everything. So I put this right with the other comment, like, you're taking it too seriously. I appreciate their frustration at the beginning. That's how I feel in all tier lists. And the fact that we're making a second one out of this, it makes me want to go make my own. But like I said when I made the last one, I was like, people aren't going to like this. Brian's like, post it. All right.
I
didn't take it seriously at all. And just know that how I made my last tier list, it would now be the same, except I've actually experienced some of the jobs that I was making fun of. So I'm only going to be hitting them harder. You should,
like when you get to Omni 80, Omni 90, I think that will end up being something, because like one of the best things about Larry is that he makes fun of the jobs. And the fact is that he knows how the jobs play. And when you know how to, you can just do it the way you do it. But
as a content creator and as a player.
True. Like,
just better.
Subscribe to Working Game for our content creator tier list.
Do you know what I have on Larry?
Note that I will be doing that. I guarantee you, like, one of our next videos is going to be us doing a content creator tier list. It's going to be just, oh my gosh.
You want to guarantee the podcast never gets another guest?
Everybody is Sid
Let's go
tier.
F tier some people.
Like Sid tier. All right. All right, F, because your name begins with an F. All right, board's yours.
I can't tell what's like what now. Okay.
This is the next one.
This one turned into like a whole debate. Arturius, because Arturius was taking this very seriously.
Yeah.
Paladin is literally god tier. Not even a close margin with the other tanks. So this turned into a whole discussion thread.
Mm-hmm.
Even if the tooltips remain unchanged. As a warrior main, I want to go back to the other video and move Paladin one more spot. Down. It literally, like when Rory came on and Rory's a Paladin main,
Yeah.
like I loved that back and forth. Just making fun of each other to make fun of each other. Paladin is legitimately a great tank, and I am perfectly happy to have them as my co-tank. But as a warrior main, take your shiny good boy goody two shoes armor and get down to the F tier. Get out of here.
Yeah. If I can get Paladin to really play well on the controller, I would definitely agree with Arturius. Like, it really comes down to that. Warrior on controller at the media tour felt just perfect. Meaning, like, I felt like I was like, I could literally just take this and just print my and just say, here's the controller guide. This feels exactly where it needs. Now with Paladin, yes, they got the upgraded competitor, and it's like that feels awesome.
Better.
Seeing it is awesome. Using it is awesome. But there were still a couple things that I'm like, man, if they just there's gonna be some changes I'm gonna have to make. So I'm usually scoring that off of my own personal. It feels
tighter tuned than the other tanks as far as like just picking it up and knocking the dust off. When you haven't played it in a while,
yeah,
it's the job where if you mess up the rotation, it feels the most punishing of the 4 tanks. Dark Knight is like, go back to hitting things that you should be hitting. Gunbreaker has a really clean rotation, so you just kind of hit reset and start over, and it's fine. Warrior is really basic, and like Paladin feels like, oh, if you're doing your magical when you should have been doing your physical, the whole thing's screwed, and you might as well just run off the platform and reset the party. Like, it's so frustrating. And the worst part is, because of the way normal content is tuned, it is possible that you leveled all the way up, and like you could literally not have all the abilities on the bar, and as a Paladin, you will clear all of it. You could clear it with the physical rotation and just clemency, probably without a healer. It's wrong, but you could do it. And so now you talk about people who are Paladin mains who then go discover something like ACT or go discover something that kind of tells them how they're doing. And the gap between the way they've been playing, the habits they've instilled, and what they're supposed to be doing if they're trying to optimize is enormous compared to the other 3 tanks. And that's why I don't like Paladin, is it's got such a massive gap. A really good Paladin of the 4 tanks, I think, really impresses me. Because it's so easy to play wrong. So like I just have trouble marking it any higher than that because that's just how it feels to me. Now I'm not like a savage ultimate player, so maybe I'm just wrong. But it was our tier list and I don't care.
All right, I'm adding a couple comments from Discord, not Discord, but from chat here. Let's see here, and then
yeah.
There you go. Cool. And copy.
So it was a nice discussion. It was kept polite and wonderful. But because I like the Warrior Paladin self-established rivalry,
I like the discussion so much, I'd be willing to give him an A tier.
Do it. Great. It was nice.
Because it's like, I really enjoyed it. Because it's like, I like the laughing, smiling face. And so it's good. That's what I think is when gaming is at its best, when YouTube content creation at its best, is when it drives a discussion, that kind of makes that all play out well together, in that regards. I'm going to kind of throw an audible because Chris and I see, I'm going to butcher the name, Injurati, talking about Paladin is boring to play. And Chris following it up saying, of course, Warrior is easier on controller because you only have to have 3 buttons. Paladin actually needs some more buttons and brain cells. I'm joking, by the way. Play whatever you want. So I'm going to give these guys, because they're hanging out here
as a Warrior main, I heard that as Paladin is boring and Warrior is amazing. That's what I read both those as. And so those can both be sit tier. What is happening?
I'm making errors. Where did Chris's comment go?
He's
lost
behind
him.
Sid tier now. He's behind Sid tier.
Is he? Oh man. Undo. There we go. All right, we got Chris back. Chris, you're gonna sit up here and Sid.
Because you're dragging them on different layers.
Yeah, I gotta. Well,
so there should be a keybind to bring to
live.
front.
I wasn't prepared for live comments.
There should be a keybind to bring to front.
I'll need to learn that. I'm not gonna have to. I'm gonna look that up here.
Can you right click it and bring to front? No.
All right, cool. All right, Chris, board is yours.
This was a fun video. Thank you. Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Ego.
Not
boosted.
good. Not bad. Fun.
Yeah.
And honestly, that should be the objective with Final Fantasy XIV. That's Sid tier right there. Like that and the uninformed garbage on our tier list video. You clearly know why we post. You clearly know why we feel people should play 14. When I quoted two things in the tweet, I quoted uninformed, disappointing garbage and that. And my only frustration with the uninformed, disappointing garbage is that they deleted it.
Yeah.
If they left the comment up, those are my two favorite comments. There's a tier list, and like they're clearly aware we post more serious discussion type videos on this channel. This is clearly not one of them.
Yeah.
And then this last one, let us re-upload the video because we couldn't handle the backlash for mocking Bard. So video went up, got about 4,000 views in its first hour or two, which feels ridiculous. And somebody noticed that an email notification had popped up, which had personal information in it. And so we went to blur it out, and so we marked the video private, so nobody had access to it. There's a blurring tool in YouTube, and the blurring, we let the tool process, but because the video length was an hour, which is way beyond a typical YouTube video, their tool really doesn't move very fast. And so after 12 hours, it had not finished blurring the couple seconds.
Yeah, so I blurred
we just
it myself.
took the video down. Brian manually blurred it, re-uploaded it, which I will say as a YouTuber means those first 4,000 views are gone.
Yeah.
And the new video will get shown to those same people who will think they've already seen it. So the click-through rate will plummet. So it punishes the video.
Yeah.
So as a content creator, for the people that accuse us of like farming views, that's a no-no. So like, and then the idea that we would re-upload to avoid criticism, but we would upload the same thing in the same place. Like, why would we not just take it down? And so I believe there was a direct response to this. Like, they've left way worse up and gotten tons of hate. Like, so I'll give this an F tier because they just literally don't understand Work to Game. Like, we have videos that we have been mocked into the ground. We have gone out and driven traffic to videos mocking us. Like, you clearly don't understand our methodology. People are like, well, there's better creators than you.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
Yes. 100%. Well, there are more viewpoints than yours.
Yep.
That's why we always ask for more creators. Yes. Like, we have 4,000 videos up. I didn't say 4,000 good videos. I didn't say the 4,000 best videos. It's just a quantity. It's just a measurable fact. And we try to fill the gaps. We publish on things that we aren't finding enough search results for. So if we search for something and it's only done once, and I watch that video and I'm like, I still feel like I have more questions. Those are the videos we go hit publish on. Is that's where we started. Now, since then, we've made a little of everything because it's fun to just make stuff. But like the idea that when people come in and say like, we only post of a certain type, you can't do 4,000 of any one thing. Like we got to this many posts because we post a little of everything. So the idea that we would be afraid of criticism. Somebody said the other day we have multiple channels because that's our way of like hiding from dislikes. Like, I don't even know how that would work.
YouTube's already making people hide from dislikes. That had nothing to do with us. Yeah, I say bring on the dislikes. If you don't like the content, like there you go. I like that the dislikes is being hidden. Iacon. Anyway, following it up, publicly subscribed. Y'all are all still a bunch of clowns. It's like
I liked that part.
Yeah.
If it had just been that, I would have been good.
Yeah, 100%.
It's the accusation that we republished because we hit, and I was bummed because then I was trying to interact with the comments on the old one because I was still trying to go read them, and it's really hard to interact with comments on a privated video, and then once you delete it, those comments are gone.
Yeah.
And like there's probably a way to go find them, but like I was really enjoying the initial feedback because that's people who have their notification bell on.
Yeah.
So people who liked it and disliked it, those are all really active members of the community over on the YouTube side of things, and so I was bummed. When Brian texted me, what did I say exactly when you said, hey, I ended up having to reload it because it just wouldn't process? I believe my exact comment was, I understand. I said, okay, Bummed we lost that initial out of the gate.
Yeah.
Like, I'm bummed. Bummed was, it said okay, period, space, bummed. Those are my thoughts in that order. All right. I'm bummed.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like having to re-upload.
Yeah.
It's bad for the video. It's bad for the community because it fractures these discussions. It's bad for the platform because it causes weird stuff within the algorithm. Nothing comes out ahead from a re-upload. So the only time we do it is when there's a good reason.
Yep. And so you take out that accusation, and then y'all are still a bunch of clowns. Like, I would make that like an
if you could split that into 2 comments.
Yeah.
You're still a bunch of clowns that sit here. That's fantastic.
Yeah, like, absolutely. Thank you. You've whether you think that's an insult or not, we accept that as a high praise compliment.
I believe my response to it mentioned the clown handbook or clown school or something like that.
So, guys, that's our community feedback comment tier list. Hopefully that brought you some level of joy in your feed today. Sound off and let us know what you think about this. And who knows, we might be doing all our comments and tier lists. I'll find a better way to kind of group them together so we can really have a lot of fun with it. So, Chris, why don't you sign us off?
Set up a community feedback Venn diagram.
Oh.
Like, dislike, and there can be an overlap.
Chris, why don't you take us out?
All right, guys, we are literally burning time till Endwalker. So if you feel like our content has derailed as we slowly lose our sanity, twiddling our thumbs too much, and we just slowly lose touch, that is because we didn't plan for this. We are excited for Endwalker, and we are streaming. I have seen Brian streaming some New World where we have Twitch drops enabled, so you can come get some cosmetics just for watching us play New World. And we're just having a good time. We're just hanging out. I've got 78 levels as of this point until Omni 80. I don't think I'll get my Amaro in time, but it's nice to swing for. And we're just killing time. I think many people have this week off work, either for the holiday or they planned to be playing Endwalker or both. And here we sit. So hopefully you guys are enjoying this no man's land of time between the last of the press releases and the actual launch of Endwalker. And we'll see you next time.
Take care.